Buster Posey back on the Murph and Marcus show. Buster, you got your buddy Brian Murphy, Marcus Boucher. Happy Tuesday morning. How are you, Buster?
Hey, morning, Buster.
Well, what's going on, guys? All is well here.
We're good.
How are you? How's the new year?
We're good. We're good. We're fired up, man. We're Niners kind of stink. Warriors kind of stink. So we're looking to you, buddy. No pressure. Deliver a winner.
Hey, I'm not playing, so the pressure's on the players, not me.
Hey, Mike Kruko asked us. I said, hey, what do we ask Buster? And he said, is he having any fun? So, are you?
I am. I really am. Yeah, I thought it would be something I would enjoy, but you never know until you get into it. And I am. I'm having a good time. I mean, you get to talk baseball every day with people that love the game. And so yes, I am having a good time.
Is it hard? Is it harder than you think? Than you thought it would be?
I don't know if I really had, what my expectations were for hard. I mean, it's different, right? I mean, it's very different than preparing as a player. As a player, it's a very much, at least this time of the year, it's a singular focus on getting yourself ready. And now it's big picture, and there's a lot of moving parts, and there's conversations being had internally with the, different people in the organization, and then outside the organization as you're trying to get some deals done and try to improve the roster as best as possible going into the season.
Yeah, well, I will say, Buster, it can't be that difficult since you walked into the front office and handed out the largest contract in San Francisco Giants history. First signing this offseason, Willie Adames. I know we'll get to Justin Verlander in just a few moments also, but talk to us about what's been the biggest difference for you being on the other side of these negotiation tables.
Biggest difference. Well, I mean, the obvious answer I think there is as a player, your mindset is to, maximize what you can on the contract. And then obviously on this side, you're trying to be prudent as much as you can and all the same time understanding what the market is. And my perspective too is I know how hard it is for free agents to get to that moment where they're available to 30 other teams. But, I think the big thing for me is you understand each dollar you spend on a certain player could possibly go somewhere else. So you have to keep that in mind and balance, just how far you're willing to go.
With that being said, was it more intimidating for you to step into the batter's box against Justin Verlander or to sit across from him at that table?
Ooh, that's a tough one. He was tough to face, but it was, I don't know. I always looked at those at-bats and guys like this, the future Hall of Famers, the ultimate competitors, and I loved them. I mean, it's kind of like Kershaw and Scherzer, same type of at-bat where you're getting their best, and it's the at-bats you dream of as a little kid to get to face the best in the world. And I don't know if it's the same or different across the table. I mean, I was excited about the opportunity to bring this guy on, and he's still extremely motivated and believe that he can pitch well at the top of our rotation, and there's no doubt going to be some added benefits that our younger pitchers get from just watching him come to work every day.
Yep, that's the voice of Buster Posey. You know it on the UMA guest line. Giants, since we last talked to him, signed Willie Adames and Justin Verlander. Now, other things that happened since we last talked to you is that Corbin Burns signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks. So I guess my question is, was Verlander a pivot after Burns chose Arizona?
Yeah, I mean, look, we had some conversations with Corbin, his representation, and we just ultimately decided to go a different way. He's a great pitcher, but just decided to go a different way. And yeah, Verlander, we focused on him afterwards.
Was the opt-out, I guess it's a two-part question, was the opt-out a major hurdle, and do you not like early opt-outs in deals?
You know what, Murph, I mean, I'm early into this. I think part of my stance on these negotiations is I don't want to get too far into the weeds on what they are. And look, I as much as anything, I don't want to pigeonhole myself into saying something and then having to take that back. So I'll somewhat plead the fifth on that question. But yeah, I mean, I think big picture, you'd love to have either somebody for extended period of time, or a guy like Verlander, when you can do a one-year deal, puts you in a good spot, and hopefully, he has a great year, and we have an opportunity to re-sign him.
Roki Sasaki is another big name that's been on the market this offseason. Susan Slusser reported yesterday that he has informed the Giants that he will not be coming to San Francisco. So, Buster, what can you tell us about that recruiting process?
Well, first and foremost, I just am appreciative of our team. Zach, all his efforts, Jose Bonilla, who did, uncounted hours of work for preparation for that meeting. And we had SFG Productions put together a really great video that, spanned from the Bay Area to Arizona, just featuring our facilities and a lot of the city as well, and just what San Francisco has to offer, culturally, from a food perspective. So that's my first response is just I'm appreciative of all the work that went into that recruiting process. And, we put our best foot forward. I don't think there's anything else you can do. And I know the group feels that way. It wasn't a last-minute haphazard, last-ditch effort. Zach had been on Roki for a long time, and unfortunately, it didn't work out.
Talking to Buster Posey here as the Giants make their move. They get Justin Verlander, and so obviously everybody, Giants fans, Buster, any baseball fan. Okay, what's next? You give him something. Okay, what's next? Give him Willie Adames. Okay, what's next? Okay, Justin Verlander. Okay, what's next? So, what's next? If I look at the Buster Posey grease board of priorities, I guess I would sort of prime the pump question by saying, is a bat a high priority moving forward, or are you all set?
Maybe some of both. It's hard to say. I think that, we've probably talked about it before, but, for us to put a great team out there on the field and for us to have sustained success, we're going to have contributions from players within the system. So, look, we feel really good about our arms. We feel good about the strides that Fitz made and Ramos made last year. McRae having a little bit of a taste, hopefully got some confidence. I think Eldridge, best case scenario is for him to get a solid year in the minors and go dominate. We'll see, he might be beating the door down and force our hands. We'll just have to see. But, we believe in what these guys are going to do, and we're going to have to continue to bring in young talent via the draft and, international signings and possibly trades. But we'll continue to monitor the market. And it is funny, like you said, being on this side now, as a player, I was always looking and thinking the same thing. And, it's not that you're not daily looking at different options. It's just they don't come along as easily as you might think.
Right. It's like you try. If it's so easy, you do it, right? So there you go. We're talking to Buster Posey on the UMA guest line. The DH position is unusual. You played without the DH, and then you played with it, I think, for a year, right? Was it around 2021? I forget. I think it was, right, in your final year?
Yeah.
So for you as a president of baseball ops, I guess I'll ask a general one, kind of easy one first. Like, what's your ideal fit for a DH? Is it an aging slugger who sits on the bench? Is it a rotating position where you kind of platoon it day by day? What's your do you have a philosophy on how you fill the DH if you want to be a championship team?
I think it just depends on the players that you have. If you can slot David Ortiz in, sure, go ahead and do that. But there's not many of them out there. And talking to Bomel a little bit, I think he likes the flexibility of being able to give some guys a half day off with just the DH. So we've got some viable options on the roster now that you can move around and give them a blow. And then there's probably going to be, a guy or two that might take it more often than not. But I think that's the way it's most likely going to play out is it's a spot that, you'll rotate some guys in and out.
Buster, I know we've talked before about the future of someone like Marco Luciano and the potential position change. I'm curious if you guys are looking at Marco Luciano at all at that DH spot, or is the primary focus finding out a position to get that bat in the lineup and where he can play every day on the field?
I think Marco, just my hope for him, I'm excited to have a conversation with him in camp, is for him to just the best he can. It's one of the hardest things in baseball, and is just to go play with freedom. I just felt like I've noticed a little bit over the last couple of years that he's a little bit more tense and maybe not as free swinging in the box as he was as a 18, 19-year-old. And that's my biggest hope, is that he can come into camp with some freedom and just to know, hey, look, we're not looking for you to do anything else other than be yourself. And if he can go out, I mean, he's shown it. He's shown it in the past that he's got big time raw power. And so, we're going to have to analyze what he looks like this spring. It's going to be a big spring for him, and hopefully he gets off to a nice start and gets some confidence going, and we'll see where it goes.
Buster Posey, man, it's fun talking all things Giants. By the way, FanFest starts this Saturday. I will be up there in Napa at the Napa Yard, Oxbow Gardens. I got Matt Chapman up there and other players, and I think we'll get the Q&A going a little after 11 a.m. somewhere. If you give me a few minutes there, I have to get from a CYO basketball game, 11:15 or so. So hopefully looking forward to seeing everybody at the Napa Yard, Oxbow Gardens Saturday morning, and then Marcus will be down in San Jose the week after. So Giants Fan Fest, we'll come see you guys Saturday. The next few Saturdays, we'll do that for sure. Jung-Hoo Lee posted, I believe, on social media, a pretty cool post. Him around San Francisco. He's back. Can we get the Buster Posey review of Jung-Hoo Lee? And are we just going to go ahead and say right now, leading off opening day, center field, Jung-Hoo Lee, book it?
Well, I'm excited that he's feeling as good as he is, and talking to Dave Greshner and the medical staff, he's had a great offseason. He's feeling strong, and he was a really exciting player for me to watch last year. I mean, sometimes when those guys like him who are wired like him go so hard, unfortunately they are going to get hurt, but you can't take that away from them. But he's got an elite ability to find the barrel, and I think he won his teammates over last year very quickly, and I guess the fan base as well, just with his style of play and his ability to find the barrel and on all sorts of different pitches and locations. And as far as where he hits in the lineup, that's a conversation with Bomel, and we're not gonna pigeonhole ourselves into where it's gonna be, where he's gonna be just yet. But we're excited to have a healthy Jung-Hoo in the lineup next year.
Buster, you've mentioned a few times that the hope and expectation is that Justin Verlander can be a top-of-the-rotation type of pitcher. I'm curious, going to spring training, do you guys have an idea of how that rotation is going to play out, or is there still open competition at this part of the offseason?
Yeah, most definitely open competition. Have talked with Hicks and told him, like, hey, man, from my perspective, the guardrails are off. You had a great year last year, a great first 2 months, and it's a big adjustment for somebody that's having to go from the pen and then increase their innings and the style of their workload. So he was fired up about that. And when I talked to him, I told him, look, there's a chance we're going to sign somebody else. And he was all about the competition, which made me really excited. So, I mean, I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy to go into spring. Obviously, you've got it, Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, and Justin Verlander who are going to be in there, and then I think we'll just have to look at those 4 and 5 spots and see where things shake out.
We've gone this long in the interview, Buster, without asking the question burning up the Bay Area. Should Justin Verlander wear number 35?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I called Craw a couple of days ago and just kind of floated it to him, and he understands, and it's a sensitive topic, obviously, for what that number means to all of us and Craw's career here. And I think Verlander's on the fence at this point, and which is really cool. I mean, a guy that's, in my eyes, a future first ballot Hall of Famer, having the reverence for somebody as beloved as Crawford in this area that's on the fence of what number he wants to wear. So the way that I understood it was that Justin wanted to have a conversation with Crawford before he made a decision.
And Buster, we actually had a conversation with Brandon Crawford a few weeks ago after he announced his retirement. He talked about his offseason plans, how he wanted to spend some time with the family, but he also mentioned a conversation that he had with you about maybe potentially joining the Giants front office moving forward. So what do you think? Is there a role moving forward, maybe next year or in the near future, of Brandon Crawford rejoining the Giants front office?
Well, it's nothing we've talked about directly, but of course open to it. I mean, he's a great baseball mind, great baseball instincts, and having somebody like that who's so passionate about the Giants from the time he was, probably before that he can even remember is definitely appealing. So we'll see where it goes.
So I know you got to let you get going here, but just to set the table going forward, you said every day you're looking, every day. So would you say though would you characterize you guys as sort of like still active in trying to add to your offense, or is it dying down?
Well, I think Murph, what I've learned is things can change quickly. There's not, I wouldn't say there's a lot that is imminent right now, but that could change by the time we get off the phone. So sorry for the boring answer, but we'll keep on looking.
I guess, the other thing that intrigued me too is trades. And I don't know if the landscape has changed much. And I think it was either you or Zach or both of you gave an interview talking about, or I think it was Andy Baggerly's piece in The Athletic where he sort of paraphrased you guys saying it's hard that you're trying to make trades. And would that be accurate? Like, it's like trades are something that is appealing to you guys, but it's hard to find a partner. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, for me to say if it's hard or not, I don't know. This is so new to me. It's felt hard. I'll say that. The first few months, and it's I guess it's somewhat understandable too. As teams and us as well, you kind of fall in love with certain players, and maybe you overvalue them sometimes more than you should. And I think whether this is fair or not, just my take on it is that it's safer not to trade somebody, right? You're kind of sticking your neck out on the line if you do trade somebody, and we live in a day and age where trades are so heavily scrutinized. I think there's pause from some people to move players where they think, okay, well, yeah, maybe we're not in love with them anymore, but if I do trade them and somehow they catch fire, it's going to look really bad. So it's just safer to just hold. And look, that's kind of what I've seen. Whether that's accurate or not, I don't know.
Buster, you mentioned Bryce Eldridge's name earlier in this conversation, and I know we've talked about his future a few times before, so I don't want to harp too much on it, but there were reports earlier this offseason that you guys declined trades involving Bryce Eldridge. So is he that type of prospect that you look at as someone that the fans are already falling in love with, and would you guys view him as maybe an untouchable prospect?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's accurate. I mean, the upside that he has, we believe, is tremendous. I mean, to be a 19-year-old and put up the numbers that he did last year is not very common. So, my hope for Bryce is that he's just one of those guys that's just constantly hungry and looking to improve and get better because he's off to a great start. But as he'll see, as time goes on. You've got to have the mindset that you never arrive, no matter what type of year you have, what type of, month that you have. You just have to keep on pushing and hopefully, if he does that, I think he has the skill set to be a really great player.
Wrapping up here, Buster, just kind of non-roster stuff. How's it been like getting involved in the culture of the Giants? Like you do stuff beyond roster moves, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I believe that's a big piece of what we're trying to do here. It's conversations with coaching staff, it's conversations with minor league managers. We've got a call later today with all staff in the minor leagues, and Randy Wynn's been outstanding working with Kyle Haynes and just kind of setting the tone of what our expectations are and how we're going to play the game. And I think people want it. I think people want to feel like there's an identity and a direction of what Giants baseball is going to be. So that's a big part of what we're going to do now, and I think that's something that will constantly have to be talked about. There's going to have to be accountability from players and from staff if we're going to create that winning culture that we're all looking for.
All right, man. Well, listen, it's exciting. I mean, obviously Adames and Verlander. By the way, I know you read you read stuff, you keep up on what's being written and see if you can glean anything from the writers and all that. Did you see Jim Bowden of The Athletic give you guys a B on your offseason? Any reaction?
No, I didn't see that. I read some stuff, but not that much stuff. I learned long ago as a player that it's pretty counterproductive to read what's in the media because unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation, and I think that's even been heightened in my eyes in this position now. I'll look and see sometimes somebody will send me something saying we're in on a certain player, and think to myself, well, that's news to me.
Yeah, you got to start playing that. Well, listen, we'll try to limit our misinformation and disinformation here at KNBR. So.
That'd be great. I really appreciate that.
For KNBR, the limited misinformation leader. How's that for your?
We'll have to fact check on that.
All right. Well, we do appreciate you taking the call and coming on. Fans love it. They love the conversation, the dialogue. It builds excitement going into the season. And so we'll let you rest for a little bit. We'll chase you down maybe in Scottsdale. We'll be down there doing shows, so hopefully we can grab you down there. But thanks, Buster, and you can go back to your day. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Buster.
All right, guys. Thanks. Good catching up. See you.
Buster Posey on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.